Shalom, shalom. All right, first and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rekakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the holy elect. So I went to 144,000. Shalom. All right, so Lord willing, right? I was watching, me and the brothers, lately with sit downs. We wanted to, start going into sit downs. I was like, we want to start going to breakdowns of chapters, chapter breakdowns. It hit me in the spirit a little while ago. I was watching a lesson, or the street ministry, the elders, the camp they have, and Elder Pastor Hart mentioned one day, like he wasn't getting on nobody. He was just basically saying like, hey, they're going to the breakdowns, because they ain't really see many people going to the breakdowns. The elders, they go into breakdowns a lot, and very edifying, to eat the whole roll. And as we eat that whole roll, it's for us to, eat it up, get full, and digest it, spit it back out. You know what I'm saying? Teach it back out, as you study and learn, and do your research as well, things as such, right? But I'm watching the elder. I say all that to say because I watched an older lesson of the elders, and of Genesis 2 breakdown, and as I'm watching the lesson, the spirit hit me, right? The spirit hit me, and I'm title this one, as in the days of no, right? Because as you can see, as we've been mentioning, for the past, since the year started, things are starting off. Not at this peak, but things are starting off already with things going on that's showing that there are signs that's showing that we're getting closer and closer to our deliverance. Romans 13:11 says now it's high time to wake up our sleep. Really paraphrasing, our salvation is near when we believe, right? And we seeing the times, and we seeing the things that's going on around us. We seeing prophecy unfold in front of our faces. We know the next thing to come, because we seen the tension of World War III. But before World War III come, we know that the MOTB is going to come, right? The mark of the beast, the RFID chip, that new world order. And you seeing how Esau is, pushing his fierceness and his fierce wrath. He's ramping it up, and we know that's going, eventually lead to him pushing that new world order, RFID chip or whatnot, and trying to implant that in everybody. But like I said, the title of this lesson, is in days of no, because at the same time, through the spirit of Prophet Habashim Yahushua, Ezekiel 3 verse 17 says, right, I have said watchmen, right? I have said, let's go to that, right? It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 17, right? It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word in my mouth and give them warning from me, right? So this is the warning, because the mouth of the Lord right now is his prophet. The prophets here breaking down the word, breaking down the scripts, teaching the truth, and the elect will be able to obtain that truth, that word, right? And once we receive it, we supposed to stir up, receive it. Like I mentioned earlier, eat the whole roll, Ezekiel chapter 3. It's like it up in this verse, right? Ezekiel 3:1. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth and caused me to eat that roll. This roll talking about this Bible. Back then the Bible was written on ancient scrolls, right? Before it was written in like the Bible form it is now. So the roll talking about this Bible, eat the whole roll, right? So when we receive this truth, whether, we supposed to teach you whether they hear or forbear. We knowing that Israel is a gang-saying people. They're going to turn their ear. They're not going to want to hear the truth, because, we're prophesying the downfall of this place. And a lot of Jake is, majority of Jake, except for the elect, are caught up with the affairs and everything of this life. They're tied into the way of this life thing there to an extent to where they don't look back from it. Like they're caught up in it deeply, right? So when they hear the truth, Christians say they want to hear the smooth thing, they want to hear the easy things, And when we tell them about Jacob's trouble, we're telling them about Jacob's trouble and things that such, because Jacob's trouble is here. It ain't just at its peak yet, like I mentioned earlier. Things ain't just at the peak, but Esau's showing, and signs are showing that we're coming into the times. Hey, right? Let's go to this real fast. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1. This know also that in the last days, perilous, meaning dangerous, times shall come. So we know that we in these last days, and these dangerous times are here. So Yahweh Shah for long as he have set watchmen right over you to give warning from him, to tell you, hey, depart out of this way, depart from out of this world, because we know there's going to be a destruction that come upon this place, and if you don't depart from it, you're going to get caught up in it, and you're going to get caught up in that wrath that's going to come, right? You know, Jacob's trouble, World War III, Yahweh Shah and the chariots come to destroy this place, the curse upon this earth, man, right? But like I mentioned, the point, you know, what I want to get to is they don't Ezekiel 12, it says, you know, how it goes into the fact of the days are prolonged. Jake feel like he got time. Jake feel like ain't nothing gonna happen. Jake feel like this is just something this is something coming, always go down, it's been going down in America. You know, Esau done professed so much wickedness that the world just accepted. When things going down this way, they don't even think, because we tell them, hey, these are signs that's showing 2 Esdras 9 and 1. These are signs that's showing that, hey, the end is here. Yahweh Shah is slowly approaching, right? Well, really, as 2 Esdras 4 says, the world hastens fast. So he really coming faster than we think, you know. But Jake not tripping about it. Jake caught up in the world. Jake still trying to get rich. Jake still trying to do all these things, get married, do all these type of things. That's why this title, The Days of No, because they don't pay attention to the warning. They don't want to hear it. Because why? Oh, this ain't nothing gonna happen. This ain't nothing gonna happen in this time. This ain't nothing. This and that, right? We still got time. You know, we ain't. Why you gonna think it's gonna be a World War III? We ain't never seen no war, things that's such, right? They don't want to hear it, and when they hear it, they turn from it, right? They don't want to. Remember again, Isaiah 30 prophesied to me smooth things, easy things. Really paraphrasing, right? So let me think of this, right? Genesis chapter 2, right? I'm gonna start at verse 5, right? It says, every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew, for the Lord Yahweh powers had not caused it to rain, right, upon the earth, right? So back then it didn't rain, right? There was not a man to the ground. It says, but there went up a mist from the earth, what we call dew, and watered the whole face of the earth. You know how you go outside early in the morning with like basically like is grassy, whatever, and it be wet as if it rained, but it didn't rain back then. That's the dew, right? The mist, the dew was on the ground, right? And maybe this hit me in the spirit, because even though watching the breakdown, Edo Apostle Tahar, you know, it's Edo Apostle Tahar, Edo Apostle Ramlai, Edo Apostle Goodbar, they're doing the breakdown Genesis 2, right? But at the same time, right, you know, they're even Edo Apostle Tahar even mentioned it, like, you know, that's why they didn't believe Noah, right? Because back then it didn't rain during those times, right? So how there's gonna be a flood? It's gonna rain in those times. Well, how you gonna say they never said it's gonna be World War II supposed to be the war to end our war? They don't know war again. They're not gonna drop no atomic bombs on each other. They don't want to do that. It's gonna destroy the whole world. Of course, this whole world's finna be destroyed. Yes, this place is finna be destroyed. The world that you know it as is cooked. It's gone, right? You know. And Jake, you know, they got that mindset, those same ones who was wiped away in that flood, you know, and that's why, you know, matter of fact, let's go ahead and go to that Matthew's, you know, and people, they despise the mercy of Yahweh because ultimately right now His mercy is here upon you to even be able to hear this knowledge and understand and give this warning. That's mercy. I'm giving you a warning. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm giving you a warning. I'm having mercy on you to give you a chance to correct yourself. But what? You know, they just like those, cause you got to think those same spirits. Those same spirits, the ones who don't believe back then, today they still don't believe, right? You know, and the ones who did believe, guess what? They still believe, right? So this right here is Matthew 24. I'm gonna say start around about verse 30. Let's see, 37, right? So I started verse 36. It says, but at that day and hour knoweth no man, no, right? Not the angels of heaven, but my Father only, right? Remember in Acts when they asking, Yahweh Shai, like, when will the kingdom, or now we restored to Israel? He tell them, like, no, don't nobody know, mentally paraphrasing, don't nobody know but the Father. I don't even know, right? It says, but as the days of Noah were, so shall also the Son, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, right? Because Yahweh Shai keeping his patience. Isaiah 42:14, he keeping his patience. He ready to come, ready to avenge the elect and bring vengeance on our enemies, these other nations, what they did to him, and also what they did to, the chosen people of Yahweh Shai. That's why the place is going to go down. But it says also, but as in the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, because the Most High used the flood to wipe away the wicked, Cain them, and that same evil spirit that's on Cain, guess what? It came back to Esau, Edom, right? So this, the first death was the flood. The second death is going to be what? The fire, the nuclear destruction that come upon this place, right? And that's why he said, but as the days of Noah, so shall also the Son of Man be, because you have men giving you warning, hey, it's gonna be catastrophic, man. Tear it up. But man, we don't want to hear that. They ain't finna have no nuclear war. They not gonna do that. The whole earth will be gone. They ain't gonna do that. They ain't gonna do this and that. Things and such, right? People don't believe this how they did the days of Noah, right? He said, for as the days that were before the flood, right? And that's how and that's how this gonna hit. Esau gonna come down like a flood. A flood gonna wipe down everything in its path. When the flood comes, it's taking down everything in its path. Esau gonna come like a flood, man. They gonna come through Jacob's trouble. They gonna come like a flood, taking down everything. If you ain't in line with a flood taking down anything, don't matter if you in line with it or not. Everybody gonna be, the Esau want the whole world. The RFID chip, they coming forcefully with it, right? They ain't coming to ask you to take it. No, you gonna have to take it. It's gonna be mandated. You have to take it, right? Jacob's trouble is definitely gonna come. They coming down with great. They start. You see it now, throwing the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, going through it, throwing them in camps, kicking them out, things that such, beating them, killing them. I seen a post, that was talking about how they graping. Basically was saying they graping they graping the people at those concentration camps that ISIS held in the so-called immigrants to, which is just the Northern Kingdom, or which is just the Hebrew Israelites, lack of better words, right? And basically they were saying, like, we have no control of what they're doing over there, so they just allowing this to go on, right? It says, for as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And it's crazy. It's a hit me experience that I'm doing it, because it's crazy now, because I think, when you come to the new year, everybody in that mindset of new year, new me. They start setting their new year goals, and we're not just saying this is the hopeful year. This the hopeful year of our deliverance. We're not just saying, 2026 is the world from the end. No, we just saying, times are showing that, hey, we getting closer and closer to that. Once again, Romans 13:11, our salvation is nearer than we would believe, right? But the point is, like, when it comes to a new year, they're not really paying attention to what's going on around. I think it was ICE that I think they shot a so-called white woman, and that grabbed their attention. They weren't really paying attention to what they really doing to Jake, for real. They don't really care about that. You got people out here protesting, but even as you seeing now, it's really starting to ramp up, because it's gonna be like a whole, a civil war. I seen something that basically talking about how the states coming up against the federal government, because they tripping how they moving, right? But at the same time, that goes into 2 Ezra 15, uproar, sedition, uproars of people. Well, also, actually, not only 2 Ezra 15, also 2 Ezra 9 talks about it, uproars of people, things as such, right? But that's a lesson for another day, right? So this back to it, Matthew 24:38 again says, for as in days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, right? So, the warning has been out here. We're telling you, but Jake's still trying to build wealth. Jake's still trying to, obtain his new year, new me goals, right? He got his bulletin board checked off, right? Jake ain't worrying about what we saying in the truth. Jake ain't trying to hear this place is going down, this place is going to be destroyed. Jake trying to build a good life in this place, right? It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the also the coming of the Son of Man be. Right? It made me think. I think it's like the parable of Lazarus rich man, but basically telling them, like, send me as an example. They're gonna see it. And Yahushua telling them what, he told rich man what, if they don't even believe me, they definitely ain't gonna believe you, right? They ain't believe me, and I was there with them. They ain't gonna believe you, and that's how it is now, right? Because why? Jake has no faith. You gotta think we didn't us as people, we didn't see Yahushua do these things. It was men who witnessed them, but we didn't see these things, right? So we obtain these things through faith, through the Spirit of power of Yahushua, which is a gift. It's a gift to have this faith, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4 and verse 2. It says, "For unto us was the gospel preached, as well unto them," right? "But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it." So they don't got no faith, right? They don't got no faith to understand that, hey, what they don't got no faith in this truth all around, right? Whether we telling them the description of this place, or whether we telling them that they're Hebrew Israelites and they return back to Yahushua, they don't have no faith to believe, In the beginning, knowledge and wisdom start with fear. They don't fear Yahushua. They fear Esau, Edom more than they fear Yahushua. But they have no faith and they have no fear, so they feel like they can run around, do what they want to do. They feel like they can ignore this truth, ignore this knowledge, understanding, just as they was doing Noah. Because why? These things they ain't looking for these things to happen, because it ain't, to them, they can't see the sign. They have no vision. Where there's no vision, people perish. Just as well as back then, it didn't rain back then. How is it gonna flood? How is it gonna flood if it don't rain? Just as well as now. Once again, how is it gonna be a war and they not trying to drop them? They ain't gonna destroy the whole world, this and that. They ain't finna do this and that. Nah, right? They ain't finna turn things digital, man. You know how long it took them to cancel the penny, things and such, right? The people are, they have no faith to believe, because they're drunken out the fornication of Babylon. What the scripture say, you stagger not from wine, you stagger not from strong drink. They know they caught up in the philosophy, the ways of the lifestyle of Babylon, so they don't get it, just as well as they ain't get it in the days of Noah, man, because they hear this word, but it ain't mixed with faith, right? So let's go back to Matthew's 24, right? And it's a precept that's on my mind, Lord. That's why I'm trying to keep going. Lord willing, it pop up to me, right? Let me see if I can think of mind. Let me see. Let me see. Matthew 21 and 42, right? It says, Yahushua said to them, Did ye ever read in scriptures? The stone which the builders rejected, the same as becomes the head of the cornerstone. Talking about Yahushua, because he that head of cornerstone, right? This is the Lord's doing. It is marvelous in our eyes, right? Because they rejected Yahushua. What did Yahushua say? When I came onto the scene, I came into my own, he came into his own received him not. They've been rejecting Yahushua. They've been rejecting this truth, right? That's why Yahushua I'm trying to find that, they ain't listen to you, they won't listen to me, right? Trying to find it. Lord willing, right? It come to me. But basically, scripture saying, basically like, they ain't listening to me, so they ain't listening to you, right? But getting back to it, right? Verse 39 again says, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, right? So they don't have no faith, they don't have no vision to see, right? So boom, guess what? What about y'all say? The devil looks like a thief in the night. He also say what? If the man knew that the robber was coming, You know, don't you think he would have prepared himself? You know, that's why a robber come at night, because he want to catch you off guard. That's why y'all shall say what, right? You know, the day of the Lord is a thief in the night, because he's gonna catch you off guard, right? You know, matter of fact, we're gonna come back to that, right? Even to the next point where I was going to go. So I was, you know, Lord willing, through the Spirit, I was thinking how I was going to bring it out, because I wanted to also go into Luke 13, but the Spirit going there now, because that's why, you know, you can't make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, right? What is that? Is it Ecclesiastes 5 and 7? Yeah, Con, right? This is the book of Sirach 5 verse 7. It says, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in their vengeance. We just read how they was marrying, giving them marriage party, that's doing all these things, right? Not necessarily saying you're doing that now, but chasing money, caught up in the affairs of this life. You caught up in the affairs of life. It's simple, right? You caught up in the affairs of life of Babylon, right? You ain't paying no attention to this truth. So you can't make no tarrying turns to the Lord, because you got to seek the Lord while He is near, right? Got to seek the Lord while He is near. You know, and that's the Spirit. Because like I say, I wanted to bring Luke 13 out, but I was seeing how the Spirit was going to, you know, lead me to bring it out. But, you know, we're going to get to after this. We'll read this again to make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Because you can't wait. Because their Lord's like a thief in the night. Remember the 5 wise and the 5 foolish? Right? You got to prepare, right? Which the scripture's going to say more in Matthew 24, right? Because you got to think, this ain't all the prophecies going to come to pass. And that's why we have the spirit of prophecy to overcome this beast. This beast, right? You know, the spirit of prophecy is upon us for us to see the signs of things that pass, for you can see these things. We're building that spiritual ark now, man. Preparing ourselves, you know, right? And as we're gonna read, once that door closes, it's over with. So you gotta seek the Lord while He is here. You can't make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. It's saying, put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, right? Was they not putting off day to day? Oh, we partying. Oh, ain't no flood coming. Oh, it don't rain, this and that. Oh, it ain't gonna be no war. It ain't gonna do this and that. Then what happened? Suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth. Suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, right when you didn't expect it, right? What it says, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed. What is that? The money, the lifestyle you've been chasing, the things you feel comfortable in, right? Gonna be soon right away. They out there partying, drinking, doing all that, right? What happened? The flood hit them in that security. The same thing is gonna be now, as in the days of Noah, right? As in the days of Noah, same thing is gonna be now, right? Then you ain't seen no rain. Yeah, you ain't just seen no wars, or you don't think it's gonna be no war. Boom, then it pop off right in front of your face. Check control, pop off right in front of your face, right? You know, now you shook. In that security, you shook and perish. And it's like in that security, thou shalt be destroyed and perish in their vengeance, right? All because you don't want to listen. Right, because the mercy of Yahweh is here upon us. So you have to seek Him while He is near. But remember, Luke 1 tell you, right? Luke chapter 1 tell you, right? You know, matter of fact, not Luke, it's like it. Proverbs chapter 1, real fast. Got a quick precept before I go to Luke, right? I'll start at verse 23. It says, turn you at my reproof. Behold, I'll put my spirit unto you. You know, my words known unto you. How you do that? He put His spirit on the prophets and teach the word, teaches truth. Said, because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand, no man regarded. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and with none of my reproof. Right? It says, and I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock you when your fear cometh. It's a video, Lord willing, from El Apostle Gabar. You know, he going says in days, you know, he talking about how, you know, they banging on the door, trying to get into the ark, things as such, and the Most High closed the door. Right? The Most High closed the door. Right? Because why? Right? Let's go to that, right? The Most High closed the door, man, because you didn't want to listen. Now when your calamity come upon you, you're going to laugh, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 13, right? And we'll start at verse 24, right? It says, strive to enter to the straight gate, right? It's straight, S-T-R-A-I-T, right? Difficult, hard. Remember, it's a narrow passage that we on. Strive to enter to the straight gate, for many, I said to you, who will seek to enter in shall not be able. He said, once the master of the house is risen up and has shut the door, you begin to stand without and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. He shall answer and say unto you, I know you not whence you are. Right? So, as I was just mentioning, they banging on the door trying to get in the ark, And how about Yahweh Shai closed that door, right? You gotta think, all these things going to go down because why? Yahweh Shai ordained it to go down, right? So when that famine of the word hit, guess what? It ain't gonna be no more. It was just like a while ago, close to the end of the last year, around about October, November, if I'm not mistaken. A guy came up to some of the brothers' camp and was like, "Well, y'all was right all along. I remember such and such. I seen y'all here, but y'all was right all along, right? It's gonna be more and more of them, right? But you gotta think, it's gonna get to a point to where it ain't gonna be expedient for us to be on the highways and byways. They're gonna shut down the YouTube, right? We ain't just gonna be able to. Ain't that we gonna stop? But how about Yahweh Shai gonna close our mouths and say the famine of the word, right? Because Esau gonna be out here when he speak against his truth, speak against his word. Not saying we're gonna stop, because we're gonna teach the word to Yahweh Shai stop it. But get to a point to where they're gonna be persecuting you, killing you, all type of things. That's why Elder Pastor Tahar just did you know how you be doing like the little breaking news type live. He'll be like 5 to 10 minutes, right? He'll be showing you the news going on. It was a guy saying, we need to minimize the First Amendment. And you know what that means? They're gonna take it away. It ain't gonna be no freedom of speech. If I'm not mistaken, that's the freedom of speech. Whichever amendment, I don't be tied into the Esau system. No, a little bit of it, but I don't pay attention to it like that. But whatever amendment it is, I'm just saying like this, whatever amendment it is, the freedom of speech, and I want to say that is the first, right? But, they want to minimize it. The guy was saying they should minimize it, right? Take it away. Basically take it away, man, right? So once this truth is, how about y'all shot shut the mouth for the prophet, the family of the word here, you're cooked. Because you got to think the mercy is here, the names are here, right? The names is here. Things that say, well, hey, what's that name y'all was calling on? What's that name the Hebrews was calling on? Right? Right? It says, when once the master of the house is risen up and has shut the door, and you begin to stand without and to knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open unto us. You shall answer and say unto you, or he shall answer and say unto you, I know you not whence you are. Then you shall begin to say, we have eaten and drunken in our presence, and thou hast taught in our streets. But he shall say, I tell you, I know you not whence you are. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity, man. Right? He said, there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, of nuclear bombs hit, the hurt, Jacob trouble, World War III, right? When you shall see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of Yahweh, and yourselves thrust out, man. Right? Yourselves thrust out, because why? That mercy door is closing. Let's go back to Proverbs real fast. The truth is out here, but you despise it. You turned away from it. So now what do he tell you? Right? Verse 26 again, I will also laugh at your calamity when I will mock when your fear cometh. Right? When your fear cometh as a desolation, and your discretion cometh as the whirlwind, when distress and anger cometh upon you, they shall call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. Gotta think what the scripture say. Seek ye the Lord while he is near. He is near, right? The name, the mercy, he's near, right? But just as days of no, they ain't care about that. Why? Because they ain't see no rain. It wasn't raining back then. Jake ain't seen no war. Ain't no World War III gonna happen, man. They ain't finna drop no nuclear bomb and destroy this whole world, right? Man, they ain't gonna, bro. We too powerful as a people now for them to come throw us in the count. This ain't slavery like back then, bro. We got guns and all that now. Come on, man. That pride, the arrogance Jake got, thinking he can come to Esau, coming to Esau in the flesh, carnally. And that's how that's why I say you not choose the fear, because when you understand the only reason they're gonna be able to do what they do, because the Most High gonna put the Spirit on them to be able to do it, man. That's the only reason they'll be able to do anything they're doing, because Yahweh Shai gonna give them the Spirit to do it, right? To get it done. Remember, hide me from them which are your sword, right? Which are your hand, So let's go back to Matthew's, right? 24. Before we finish it off, Lord willing, right? I'm not gonna make this no long one. Just want to flow through the Spirit precept. If any other precepts come, we'll continue to flow through the Spirit, right? But we back at verse, right, 39 again. It says, and knew not until the flood came and took them away. So also the coming of the Son of Man be, right? It says, then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, the other left. Watch therefore, right? Watch therefore, for you know not what hour the Lord cometh. Make no tarry and turn to the Lord. And know this, that if the good man of the house had known what watch the thief would come, meaning if he known in what time or when the thief was coming, he would have watched and would have not been suffered his house to be broken up. So if he knew when the thief was coming, he would have been on point. So when he come, he would have just handled him, right? It says, therefore be ye also ready, for in such hour as you think not the Son of Man cometh, right? Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord hath made ruler over his household to give meat in due season? Blessed is the servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. And verily I say unto you, that ye shall make him ruler over all goods, right? Let me see. But really, that's the point I really wanted to, I'll finish it off. It says in verse 48, but if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, because they feel like they got time, right? They feel like the days are prolonged, Ezekiel 12, right? They feel like they got time, right? It says, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants and eat and drink with the drunken, right? It says the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he look not for him, in an hour that he is not aware of, man, right? In an hour he's not aware of, right? Thief of the night, right? It says in verse 51, and it off, it says, and shall cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, man. Seeing again, that's a destruction that's going to come upon them, right? But this has days of Noah where they wasn't on point, right? They like the five foolish, man. It's time. It's time. Like they ain't come prepared. You got to prepare daily, right? Because you never know, right? Once again, this has the days of nowhere, man. You got to stay on point, because if you don't stay on point, guess what's gonna happen, right? That flood. Cause we build that spiritual art now. That flood, he's gonna come like a flood, man. And grab you up, right? And also the day of the Lord is gonna come like like a thief in the night. It's gonna come and destroy you if you ain't ready, man, right? So with that being said, Lord willing, right? Hope the lesson was edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole elect, start with the 144,000.